Well, hello and welcome to Toe to Toe Extra. I'm Andy Scott and this is Barry Jones, former world champion. And I am delighted to say that we are joined by Shane McGuigan. Hello, Shane.
Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank
Barry.
you.
Hi, mate.
We brought you in just for a little bit of an added extra because you used to train Daniel. So I just want to ask you now, if you were still training him, what is the best piece of advice you could give him? What's the most important thing when trying to conquer Anthony Joshua?
Very, very hard question because Anthony Joshua is a well-rounded, good, complete fighter. He does a few things leaky though, and I think if you look at Daniel's best shot, it's his left hook. And I think AJ's always been hurt with left hooks, whether it was Andy Ruiz or Dylan White. I know he's tried to address a few things. Even Usyk from the southpaw stance looped his backhand round, so maybe on that side his vision's a little bit off. But I just think you got to be very, very sensible, not take any silly shots. I mean, let's strip it back to Hrgović. Hrgović landed so many right hands in the first 3 or 4 rounds, maybe 5 rounds against Daniel Dubois. But Hrgović he throws a lot of shots. He's a volume puncher for a heavyweight. AJ's not a volume puncher, so I don't think he'll be landing as often. But obviously, if he does land, it's a lot more power. So you've got to be a lot more sensible if you're Daniel Dubois. But Daniel's got great feet, and he's grew so much since Big Baby Miller fight. Obviously, coming off a stoppage loss against Usyk, and now obviously gone and overcome in a torrid fight, by the way, against Hrgović. He had some really sticky moments in that fight, and I thought he was well down on the cards, but he showed a lot of grit, a lot of determination, and started to land some heavy shots. And obviously, the fight was stopped on cuts, but the momentum was swaying towards Daniel, and I think he's got to see a lot of confidence off that. And if you go back to when they boxed and sparred up with GB, the rumor has it that AJ used to handle him with ease, but the last time they were in the ring together, he hurt AJ. And that was one of the reasons he got a professional contract. So there's a lot of positives from Daniel's side, and for AJ, he's got a handful to deal with in Daniel Dubois, and that's genuine. I mean, he's one of the best punchers I've ever seen. He used to knock guys out cold, and he was a great gym fighter. He never was able to show it on the big stage, whereas he's sort of matured. These heavyweights tend to mature late in their late 20s. Daniel's coming into that stage of his career, and I think he's got a lot of momentum. He's got a lot of confidence.
The first thing that shocked me there, and this shows how little I know about boxing, that if you said if you were going to say to me, complete this sentence, Daniel Dubois' best shot is, I don't think I would have picked the left hook. And that's just because of the untrained eye. I always thought Daniel Dubois with the big right hand or that brilliant jab that he's got. Did that surprise you? Would you have said that was Daniel Dubois' best?
I'd probably say that the jab for me was something that I think has really come on recently. But but I'm not shocked that the left hook's a good shot.
His jab is like it's
a power shot.
Ramming jab, but he overcommits on his jab, so it's easier to time the jab. But I think the left hook, he throws it so naturally. I think if you look at the 2 heavyweights that throw, I mean, like in combination, it's Dubois and AJ. Yeah. I mean, like everybody else.
Yeah,
like,
that's a great point, which makes it a great spectacle. Actually.
They hold power throughout the combination. Like if you said, okay, throw 5 punches, they can throw 5, 6 punches in combination with power. Couldn't get Tyson Fury to do that. Couldn't get Hrgović to do that. They throw a big one too, and then when they throw more than 2, 3 shots, their speed dies and they might put the power in one shot. Whereas these guys are genuinely like phenomenal athletes, got great balance, got great power, and I think it's going to be an amazing fight whilst it lasts for sure.
And the balance, where you said there, it's when you say you can see them doing it because they turn from the hips and the shoulders, don't they? And that's where they maintain that smoothness in their punches. That's why they can maintain the power.
What do we all think about where Anthony Joshua is in this stage of his career? Do you think that too much has been made of the old AJ is back? That's sort of a broadcasting phrase. It's maybe not actually a true reflection. Did he ever really? Was he perhaps searching for something that was right in front of him? It was actually just rediscovering some of the skills that he'd already honed. Has he gone to Ben Davison and completely reinvented the wheel? That doesn't seem likely. It just seems that they've done minimal tweaks and maybe a bit of a different mental approach. I don't know.
you can gain confidence in training camps, and you can lose a hell of a lot of confidence in training camps. Now, if you're out in Derek James is a serious coach. Now, he puts his fighters in with good operators in sparring all the time, trains them hard. If you look back into where he's getting his best results with Rob McCracken, he knew that lad, AJ, from when he was a young kid coming through, where he knew where he needed the confidence and where he needed to probably put him in decent spars and then pull him out of hard spars. Just I'm saying, like, just manipulate the sparring sessions. Whereas Ben Davison and that team are probably savvy enough not to get him hurt in sparring and not get his confidence dented in sparring. Now, you got Otto Wallin, and you're boxing Otto Wallin, a guy that he sparred numerous amounts of rounds with. He's coming off a good win against Gassiev, but Otto Wallin's not a puncher. He's comfortable going in there, and then he's boxing Ngannou. Like, if you strip it back, they're two extremely winnable fights. Extremely winnable fights. So is it the new AJ? Maybe not, but he feels like it is, and that's the most important thing. Yeah. He feels like he's a new reinvigorated sort of fighter, whereas that's like 90% of the battle with somebody like AJ. Because all he's got to do is let his hands go. Because once he does let his hands go, he can take anybody out. Yeah. And if you spar him where he's hesitant, if you've got a guy that's sharp on a counter, if you put him in with Moses Atuma, even in the same gym, I guarantee you they didn't use Moses Atuma to spar for Otto Wallin. Because if he was sharp on the counter, he wouldn't be letting his hands go. Yeah. Now, you spar him against guys that he's more than comfortable letting his hands go, setting combinations up, and then you say, go on, you're in there. Look at all the great sparring you've done. And that is the psychological trick with somebody like AJ.
Isn't that funny? I look at both of you and I think, like, what you don't know about boxing isn't worth knowing. But when I ask you a question like that, it's such a simple way. And maybe boxing, like, in at that level, it is quite simple.
It's a great insight, actually, because I again, all the stuff I know about boxing, I've never trained anyone in my life, so I don't. That's a different view that I would look at. I mean, it's a similar sort of outlook, but it totally coming from a different place, and it makes all that sense in the world. Because people say about boxing is 80% mental. I don't always believe that, because you still got the physical attributes. I think that's really important, but I think for both these fighters, it is about confidence. I think, and for AJ, I also said about AJ when he lost to Ruiz, they in the rematch, they did the right thing, and they got him to use his boxing. But I think, and they gave him more knowledge and more understanding about what he has to do to be safer. But you can't take that back. So he stopped committing to attacks. This is why I thought he stopped. Before when he got hurt, he would commit. Now, that's a dangerous game, but when you've got the power and the athleticism that he has, can get you out of trouble. Dillian White was the prime example, of course, of that fight. So he was ruthless in that respect. He was always a thoughtful fighter. He always come in with a good rhythm beyond the jab, never just swang like a lunatic. Always come with a good shape, keeps his shape really well, as Daniel does. But once he hurt you with a shot, he would go for it. And I think the way they trained him for Ruiz too made him a safety-first fighter. So he thought like I would think. Oh, that's a good shot. Don't get too clever now. Don't overcommit. That's a non-puncher's point of view, not a heavyweight's point of view. You got to go at him with a good shot, right? Yeah. Let's work off that.
You've got to try and rediscover that killer mentality.
You've got to try and take you can't take the knowledge away. Once you've opened the brain, it's there.
Yeah, you can't just forget that.
No, but I mean, also the sign of a great fighter, and it's going to sound ludicrous, is knowing when to switch your brain off. I think. At a certain point, like you see Ray Leonard, Lennox Lewis, at certain points in their career, they were safety first. Actually, Ray Leonard was never safety first, but how ruthless they would be. Were they at the time right? They would commit and take that educated risk to get the finish to become a great fighter. And I think Anthony, the progression since then has been slow. But when you look at it now, it's never been about who he's beaten; it's how he's beaten them. So and you look back at the Franklin fight. He boxed okay, but lack of confidence in committing to attacks. The Wallin fight didn't box very good, but when he finished him, he committed to an attack. So that look, when you committed, look what you did. And then that fed into the Wallin fight there, but he boxed with a man a bit more confidence, waiting to look to throw the shot, and looking what Shane was saying was probably right. The way they trained him was to feed him full of confidence. That when you commit to your attacks, look how dangerous, and look at you're back to where you were. And then against Ngannou, you're up against a novice, though that novice took the best heavyweight on the planet at that time to the wire. He committed to everything he threw. He went in like a bully, like he should be.
Ngannou's not he was in there with a non-puncher. Like, let's be real. Like, Tyson Fury's a great he's a great boxer, but he does lack that devastating knockout, punch. And I think you got someone as athletic as like Ngannou was telegraphing everything. So, like, once again, did he knock out Wallow in sparring? Probably. He probably hurt him a few times, so he's gone in there extra confident. He never sparred Franklin. Franklin. Whereas Daniel's done loads. He done 30 or 40 rounds with Franklin and hurt him numerous times. So if Daniel had to box Franklin, he'd have gone to stop it.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Because it's like once you've been in there sparring, you kind of know you get a gauge of what they're good and when.
I wanted to say though. Sorry, I wanted to say.
You go.
I wanted to say. I was going anyway.
And I was always going to back down. That's the irony.
I wanted to say that. But if that would have been Josh, if Joshua would have boxed Ngannou straight after the Ruiz 2 fight, he would have seen the gaps and not committed, and that fight goes wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
I think all those fights leading up, again, they weren't. No one was a stellar performance. Wallin, he boxed up much better, but it all just again what you were mentioning about building the confidence, and I can imagine the training was tapered towards that, and I think, and the same for Daniel. I think with Daniel Dubois, the whole quitting scenario thing, which he did sort of twice. That's truth. I know the pain's your own pain, and no one could judge you for that, but he still took a knee, and that's how it is. But I thought in the Miller fight, he pushed through that tire barrier. I always thought
in that maybe like 5th and 6th round where he looked like he was there was a few distress flares coming up. Like from sitting at home, I was like, my God, he might fold here. But he didn't. He pushed through it.
And he's still on the other side. There's another level of fitness. That's that what they call it, the wall, don't they, in running, and the second wind we call it in boxing. I think he went through that. And so then when he boxed Hrgovic, though again he was too easy to hit. But he kept the high pace because he knew that he had the energy. And I think and you can do it in the gym a million times, like you're great in the gym. But until you do it in the actual real fight, you always hold back, not sure that you can commit to the attack, not sure that you want to like put your foot on the pedal too early because you want to keep reserves. Sometimes keeping reserves makes you panic, you tense up a little bit much and you tire yourself out. You just got to go for it. And I think he's full of confidence now because he realises that I can fight at a higher pace because I am fit.
Yeah.